War is one of the most destructive and complex events that has shaped human history. Civilizations rose, empires fell, and millions of lives were forever altered because of these conflicts. Think about the fall of the Roman Empire, shattered by internal strife and invasions, or the devastation of World War II, where entire cities like Hiroshima and Dresden were reduced to rubble. These moments remind us of war's immense power to change the course of humanity. So, why do countries go to war? This question has sparked curiosity throughout history and has received various answers, each reflecting the unique circumstances of its time. For some, it's a matter of survival, like how Sparta fought Athens in the Peloponnesian War to protect its way of life. For others, it's a pursuit of power and wealth, such as Spain's conquests in the Americas during the 16th century, driven by gold and glory. But one thing we know is that the roots of war often lie much deeper than what meets the eye. Beyond simple greed or fear, there are layers of motives we need to uncover. In this video, we'll explore the fundamental reasons that drive nations into such massive conflicts. From struggles over resources, like the oil-driven Gulf War in 1990, to ideological clashes that fueled the Cold War between the US and the Soviet Union, and even strategic interests that sparked the Six-Day War in 1967, we'll break down each cause with examples from history. If you're ready, let's dive in, peel back these layers, and search for answers to this timeless question together. First of all, one of the most common reasons why countries go to war is conflicts over resources and territory. Natural resources, strategic regions, or simply the need for more space have brought nations face to face throughout history. Take the Gulf War in 1990, for example. Iraq invaded Kuwait for its vast oil reserves, which made up nearly 10% of the world's supply at the time, sparking an international crisis that drew in a coalition of over 30 countries. Or consider the Opium Wars in the 19th century. Britain resorted to military force against China not just to maintain its trade balance, but to protect a lucrative opium market that generated millions in revenue, even at the cost of widespread addiction in China. Another example is the Spanish-American War of 1898. The U.S. seized territories like the Philippines and Puerto Rico for economic expansion, gaining access to new markets and naval bases in the Pacific. We could also mention the scramble for Africa in the late 19th century, where European powers like Britain and France carved up the continent for its rubber, gold, and diamond wealth. These kinds of conflicts show just how critical resources and land can be, often turning economic ambition into bloodshed. The second major reason is ideological conflicts. Differences in religion, politics, or culture can sometimes become irreconcilable, making war inevitable. Looking back in history, the 30 Years' War from 1618 to 1648 is a striking example. The religious clash between Protestants and Catholics wasn't just a theological dispute, it devastated Europe, killed nearly 8 million people, and reshaped the continent's political map. A more recent case is the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a decades-long indirect struggle over opposing ideologies like democracy and communism, fueling proxy wars in places like Vietnam and Korea that cost millions of lives. Even today, we can look at the Syrian civil war. Ideological divides between secular leadership and religious groups, compounded by sectarian tensions between Sunnis and Shias, have dragged the country into a prolonged conflict since 2011, displacing over half its population. Another historical example is the Crusades, where Christian Europe and the Muslim Middle East fought for centuries over holy sites like Jerusalem. Ideologies can unite people under a common cause, but they can also create deep, unbridgeable divisions that ignite violence. Finally, strategic and geopolitical interests are another key trigger for wars. The desire to ensure national security, establish regional dominance, or maintain international status drives countries into action. Recall the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan in 2001, security concerns following the 9/11 attacks, which killed nearly 3,000 people, shaped that decision, leading to a 20-year conflict aimed at dismantling terrorist networks. Or take the Six-Day War in 1967, Israel launched a preemptive strike against Egypt, Syria, and Jordan, fearing an imminent attack after months of escalating tensions and troop buildups along its borders, tripling its territory in just 6 days. Going further back, we see the Peloponnesian War in ancient Greece, where Athens and Sparta clashed in a 27-year struggle for power that weakened both city-states and paved the way for Macedonian dominance. Even World War I offers an example. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in 1914 triggered a web of alliances and rivalries, pulling nations into a global conflict over European supremacy. These examples prove how influential strategic calculations and geopolitical balances can be, often turning calculated risks into catastrophic wars. In conclusion, when we look at why countries go to war, three main reasons stand out: conflicts over resources and territory, ideological differences, and strategic interests. These reasons often intertwine, rarely standing alone but instead overlapping in complex ways. History teaches us this. As destructive as wars are, humanity keeps trying to learn from these conflicts. Yet, one truth remains: understanding these motivations is crucial for unraveling the dynamics of international relations and taking more informed steps toward peace. Knowing why wars happen might just be the first step in preventing them. What do you think? Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe so we can keep bringing you content like this. See you in the next video.